Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, the weather did not stop the commencement of over 100 graduates from the University of the Virgin Islands. Inclement weather caused graduating ceremonies to be moved to the educational complex yesterday on St. Croix. This year, the graduates received remarks from an acclaimed speaker that has had an underlying message to have individuals live better by loving themselves. The keynote speaker is a four-time NAACP Image Award winner, author, and New York Times bestseller, and the producer of a hit television show on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Here's more.
100 degrees were awarded at the University of the Virgin Islands commencement ceremony on St. Croix. Keynote speaker Ayala Van Zandt chronicled her personal tragedies which propelled her professional success.
Be not content with littleness. You are worth so much more, and so many more have invested so much in you that you cannot afford to stay little, think little, act little, speak little. You got to think with majesty and magnitude.
David Hall, the president of the university, awarded Van Zandt and local Quelbe musician and cultural bearer Stanley Jacobs with honorary degrees.
Mr. Jacob has worked hard to preserve this Virgin Islands art form. In addition to performing at and exposing new generations to music through appearances at public and private schools.
The university's community choir gave a spirited musical performance at the commencement, inspiring attendees. And graduate Carlota Walcott of the class of 2017 shared her remarks.
UVI has afforded us a competitive and affordable education.
Inspired by Ayala Van Zandt's address, Governor Mapp charged himself and attendees.
We really have to start thinking big, not little, big. And we have to get ourselves to a place where we're not consuming most of our time solving problems, but really discovering new horizons for the people of the Virgin Islands.
The president of the university recognized the commemoration of the Virgin Islands Centennial this year and implored graduates to carry a high torch and a flame of educational determination to propel the Virgin Islands to the next level. For News 2,
Meanwhile, on St. Thomas earlier today, friends, family, supporters, professors, and alumni, they were all gathered for the commencement ceremonies. More than 200 degrees were awarded at the Sports and Fitness Center on St. Thomas campus. Here's more.
I don't want to speak to you from being a New York Times best-selling author or a star on television. That's fluff and frill. And when your back is up against the wall, that ain't gonna help you. I want to speak to you from the tenacity of that 30-year-old woman with a high school diploma and 3 children by 3 different fathers who got off the bus and went to college, because many of you are sitting out there in this audience today. I want to speak to you from that place. And I want to share with you the thing that got me through. The thing that got me through the nights and the tests and the papers. The thing that got me through making a choice between paying rent and buying a book. The thing that got me through whether or not I could really make it. The thing that got me through was remembering these words over and over and over and over. There is nothing to fear. There is nothing to fear. I know you know that you are just beginning. The real work begins now. The real work begins in taking this information, this knowledge, this open-mindedness that this faculty has given you and taking it out into the world to make a difference, not just for you and your family and your community, but to the world. You come from an institution where the majority of students are people of color. And very often, what we do and how we do it is not equated as excellent and equal to other places. But there is nothing to fear. You got exactly what you need to take the next most appropriate steps to grow yourself into who you were born to be. There is nothing to fear.
A great message there from the keynote speaker, again at the commencement ceremonies at UVI on St. Thomas earlier today. Well, the Department of Health today reported the first baby born in the U.S. Virgin Islands with Zika-related microcephaly, as confirmed by the CDC testing. The department says they stand ready to provide services to women, infants, and families affected by the Zika virus. Health Commissioner Michelle Davis says recognizing that Zika is a cause of certain birth defects does not mean that every pregnant woman infected with Zika will have a baby with a birth defect. It means that the infection of Zika during pregnancy increases the chances for these outcomes. Here's more from the commissioner.
We are saddened to report this case. However, we are not surprised due to the high rate of local transmission in the territory. The Department of Health stands ready to provide services to women, infants, and families affected by the Zika virus. Although one case is too many, we must continue to remain vigilant in preventing infection through mosquito bites, also through unprotected sex, especially to pregnant women. Avoiding mosquito bites is the best way to prevent getting Zika, and this can be accomplished through dress, drain, and defend. Dress, wearing long-sleeve shirts and long pants. Drain, eliminating standing water in and outside of the home. Defend, use of repellents, bed nets, condoms, and screens on your windows and doors. The USVI Department of Health continues to collaborate closely with other governmental agencies as well as other public and private sector partners and is appreciative of their support in our fight against Zika. The Department of Health is committed to providing support to this family and any other family affected by this virus through our maternal and child health services.
Meanwhile, the department's Division of Mental Health and Drug Dependency Service, as we reported, is providing some workshops throughout the month in an ongoing effort to provide support to residents for mental health. The department is encouraging everyone to educate themselves about behaviors and activities that could be harmful to recovery and to speak up without shame using the hashtag #RiskyBusiness so that others can learn if their behaviors are something to examine. The department also states that posting the hashtag is a way to speak up and educate without judgment and to share your point of view or story with people who may be suffering and help others figure out if they too are showing signs of mental illness. Belina Wallace-Barub, the director of the Division of Mental Health, Alcoholism, and Drug Dependency, spoke earlier with us. Here's more.
So as you know, May is Mental Health Month. This month's theme is Risky Business, and Mental Health Month is being celebrated nationally. In the territory, we're really focusing on workshops and community outreach so that we can get our community to recognize that mental health is something that we should take care of every day. On May 15th on the island of St. Thomas and May 17th on St. Croix, we have a provider's introduction to substance abuse treatment for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender individuals. On May 30th on St. Croix, our Into the Light workshop, we have a special individual who has a lot of life experience who will be sharing information. And so if you've been considering a life change, I encourage you to come out to the Into the Life workshop at Charles Howard at 10 o'clock on May 30th as well.
Well, last evening, Governor Mapp posted a status on his Facebook page informing that approximately 1,800 tax refund checks were delivered to the post office, and the governor thanked the Internal Revenue and the Department of Finance employees in that post. We heard from the IRB Director, Marvin Pickering, with more.
As Governor Mapp had indicated, we paid refunds totaling $3.8 million to more than 1,800 taxpayers. I have to note that these refunds that we're paying for tax year 2015 and prior. Therefore, the refunds include interest on the amounts that were owed.
The Division of Personnel advises employees and retirees of the government of the VI of the extension of the voting period for the 2017 Government Employees Service Commission, GESC, the Group Health Insurance Board, and the updated telephone number to vote for employee or retiree representatives. The GESC Health Board Insurance Board election voting period has been extended until 12 noon on Monday, May 15, 2017. Employees and retirees can cast their votes using the new telephone voting number 331-305-2804 or by accessing the Division of Personnel's website at www.dopusvi.org. They say with Vote Now, that's the option right there. Well, here's an update from WAPA. Line department crews were addressing isolated electric service interruptions on both St. Thomas and St. Croix today. WAPA was dispatched to address the isolated service interruptions on St. Croix at the D. Hamilton Jackson Terrace, Morningstar, Concordia, Mount Pleasant, Wheel of Fortune, and on St. Thomas at the Belongo Bay area and Water Island, and that was due to the inclement weather that we experienced. Well, all St. Croix public schools, including the Alfredo Andrews, were back in session today after classes were dismissed at 1 p.m. on Thursday due to the heavy rains and power outages affecting the islands. Parents of Alfredo Andrews Elementary School students were informed earlier that the classes were being dismissed due to heavy rains that caused flooding to parts of the school building. The Virgin Islands Department of Education, St. Thomas St. John District, they had an early dismissal of all public schools on Thursday, but that was necessary to accommodate monthly job-embedded professional development for teachers. VITEMA is reminding you the Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Agency, they're making some final preparations for the national level full-scale exercise called Vigilant Guard to be conducted next week. To signal the start of the exercise at 8 a.m. on Monday, VITEMA will activate the siren warning system territory-wide and broadcast a tone alert and pre-recorded test message. VITEMA will simultaneously issue a broadcast emergency alert system test with participating radio and television stations. As part of the Vigilant Guard exercise, VITEMA will also establish 2 points of distribution sites referred to as POD. In a real disaster, a POD will allow for efficient distribution of essential commodities such as dried food and water to the public. Now, VITEMA is inviting the community to drive through its pods between 10 a.m. and noon on Tuesday at the Reinhold Jackson Complex at Estate Wim on St. Croix, on Wednesday at the north section of the Four Winds Plaza on St. Thomas. And those who drive through the pod will receive an eco bag filled with disaster preparedness information, water and snacks. As part of the exercise scenario, a 7.5 magnitude earthquake will occur in the Anegada Trench, which will then generate a tsunami that will severely impact the island of St. Thomas and cause moderate damage to St. Croix. More than 1,200 personnel, including active military, National Guardsmen, local first responders, local and federal emergency managers, and non-government organizations, they're expected to participate in the Vigilant Guard. Training events will occur at several other venues across the territory. Well, looking at CBS this morning, the president issued a series of tweets going after his former FBI director, James Comey, as well as the press. This comes at the end of a tumultuous week for the White House, with more questions than answers about Comey's dismissal. Kristen Holmes has the latest from Washington.
As I mentioned, the president has nothing further to add on that.
The White House once again defending President Trump's tweets.
The tweet speaks for itself. I'm moving on. John.
The president publicly threatening former FBI Director James Comey, whom he fired earlier this week, tweeting, "James Comey better hope there are no tapes of our conversations before he starts leaking to the press," warning Comey to stay silent.
I don't think that's not a threat. He's simply stated a fact. The tweet speaks for itself. I'm moving on.
But a source telling CNN that Comey is not concerned about any tapes. Comey's abrupt firing shocked Washington and left the administration scrambling to manage the message.
President Trump made the right decision at the right time, and to accept the recommendation of the Deputy Attorney General.
He took the recommendation of his Deputy Attorney General.
Accordingly, the President accepted the recommendation of his Deputy Attorney General.
Before President Trump gave this explanation.
Oh, I was going to fire regardless of recommendation.
So there was really
His tweet also raising red flags on whether or not President Trump is secretly recording conversations. drawing parallels to President Nixon.
Does anyone in this White House have an audio recording of what unfolded during the January 27th dinner between the former FBI director and the President of the United States?
I'm not aware of that.
In Washington, I'm Kristen Holmes.
Keeping our eye on the economy. For those of you buying candy for Mom and Mother's Day, some of the biggest candy makers are putting their snack on a diet. Mars announced a partnership with several other candy manufacturers to reduce calories in their products. The group includes Nestle and the companies that make Brach's, Nutella, and Russell Stover. They plan to package their candies in smaller portions and label them more clearly. Mars said it will spend $200 million to make sure half the products it sells has no more than 200 calories by 2022 rather. The company also tapped the partnership for a healthier America to help. Former First Lady Michelle Obama is honorary chair of that organization. Let's take a look at the stock market watch right there. The Dow down 22, NASDAQ up 5, S&P 500 down 3. Coming up on News 2, we have much more straight ahead. The beginning of Mother's Day. Also, update on the BOC suicide detainee. That report is in. We'll be right back.
High like the waves, I rise up in spite of the ache. I rise up and I'll do it 1,000 times again.
Great voice right there, talent. The Schneider Regional Medical Center, before we do that, let's give an update on the Bureau of Corrections. On Monday, the Assistant Director of Corrections, Everett Hansen, reported that a possible suicide had occurred at the Golden Grove Adult Correctional Facility. Reportedly, the detainee was found unresponsive in a cell and was rushed to the Wanaflui Hospital, where information states that the detainee died. The Director of the Bureau of Corrections, Rick Mulgrave, was out of the territory at the time of the incident, but he provided further information today. Here's more.
Yes, his name was Mr. Carlos Forrester. Mr. Forrester was a detainee. He was remanded to the Bureau on Saturday, May 6, 2017, on charges of extortion, bribery, and threats to an individual.
Have you received any cement information from anyone at the hospital into regards if he indeed took his own life?
No, I personally have not received that information as of yet. We still have we're undergoing an investigation, and I have not confirmed that from the hospital yet.
Well, the Schneider Regional Medical Center joined the rest of the nation, in celebrating both National Nurses Week and National Hospital Week, May 6 to 12. They say a time to recognize the contributions of our healthcare professionals to the people of the VI. 78 employees were recognized for their long-standing commitment to the health and well-being of our community. The employees marking 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and 30 years of service to the organization were honored. In addition, 12 patient care technicians who became certified in telemetry were recognized. Ms. Jamila Connor was named Nurse of the Year for her great attitude and outstanding contributions in patient care. Ms. Connor works in radiology and provides assistance in other areas such as the ER, ICU, and OR. The Health Information Management Department, they were selected as the Department of the Year, and the Shining Star employees selected for special recognition. Congratulations to our nurses. Now, the Department of Education is also recognizing the National Teacher Appreciation Week, which is May 8th to 12th. Here's another short video clip of some of the territory's top teachers who were identified in October 2016.
And I have been teaching for 28 years. During those 28 years, I have taught grades 2 through 6. For this school year, I have been chosen to be the Reading Intervention Specialist for my school, the Joseph Sibley Elementary School. I truly believe that every child can learn, and it is my responsibility to facilitate students' learning. When I had my own classroom, I found ways to engage my students. Finding out the learning style of my students helped me develop lessons that were geared toward each of them. This was accomplished in the form of group debates, projects, videotaping, performances, and skits. Student-centered classrooms were also developed, and students were responsible for their own learning. Because of my new role as a reading intervention specialist, I have the opportunity to visit all classes.
An English teacher at the Ivana Eudora Ken High School. I've taught at both high schools on the island of St. Thomas over the past 7 years. Teaching for me is an art that requires serious skill and expertise. I pursued studies in English and education at the University of the Virgin Islands because I wanted to enhance my knowledge and skill so that I am more qualified to facilitate learning in that particular area. Through the years, I have developed professionally, not only through workshops and seminars planned by the Department of Education, but also through my own pursuits of higher learning.
Congratulations again to our teachers. Great recognition there. Well, last night, many had the opportunity for a meet and greet, and they learned more about VIA's Customer Experience Center during the St. Thomas St. John Chamber of Commerce's Business After Hours. Many were in attendance, and they enjoyed a tour and demonstration, as well as some entertainment, complimentary hors d'oeuvres from fine local chefs, the famous Chamber Bar, that was included, the 50-50 raffle, and wonderful door prizes. Now, the next VIA celebration will be held at the VIA's Customer Experience Center in Sunny Isle, formerly Innovative Business Office. That's on Thursday, May 18th from 5:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m.
That we have to our customers, to all of you, is that we want to do better. We want to be a company that's customer-centric. We want to be a company that every islander is proud of it. We're second to none. We're not second to any of the U.S. companies. We are a local company, and we're going to have the best network.
Yes, I'm definitely excited to be here at the Chamber event at VIA. The energy, the vibe is really feeling good out there at VIA. I like the new look of the new store, the new station. It's especially important to me, as we heard that the CEO talk about 400 employees that this company employ. And you know, every time you use the service of this company, you help fueling this economy, because 400 individuals get paid and they go out and spend money in the economy. So congratulations again to the hardworking men and women of VIA, and much success for your future endeavor. I'm really, really, truly impressed.
We have a huge crowd here. If you look around the room, you're going to see that there's over 100 people here, and they're outside. They're in the other room across the way. It's a very successful event.
Great event. Don't miss the other one on St. Croix. Reuse Emporium is all about resale, recreating, and recycling. And if you've never been to their location in the Bovoni Center, now may be the best time, because it's Mother's Day weekend and they are celebrating 5 years. For the 5th anniversary, they are giving away mystery discounts on May 12th and 13th. You can save 5 to 35%. What better gift for mom, doing something good for the environment? The Reuse Emporium was started out of the need for a way to recycle household items in order to reduce the footprint of our landfill. Our team, the team there at Reuse, they recycle some household items in order to reduce, like we said, footprint at the landfill, and they strive to recycle as many items as possible to help them find a new home. And when the original owner, or many times recycled owners, tires of them or moves off island, they say bring something in to consign, donate, redesign, or repurpose, and join in on the revolution to educate the island to reuse. Again, that's May 12th and 13th. Be sure to check them out. And speaking of Mother's Day, don't forget, that's this Sunday. Many of you will be treating mom out to brunch, dinner, lunch, or buying gifts like flowers, chocolate, and baskets of goodies. Mother's Day is a holiday celebrated in many countries around the world, but not all nations celebrate it on the same day. In the United States, Mother's Day is always celebrated on the second Sunday in May. Many other countries, such as Denmark, Finland, Italy, Turkey, Australia, and Belgium, they also celebrate Mother's Day on the same day as the United States. England, however, celebrates Mother's Day on the 4th Sunday of Lent, and in Argentina, it is the 2nd Sunday in October. International Mother's Day is actually celebrated on May 11th. In 1907, here's a little history lesson. Anna M. Jarvis, a Philadelphia school teacher, began a campaign to establish a National Mother's Day in honor of her mother, Anna Maria Reeves Jarvis. She wrote hundreds of letters to legislators and prominent businessmen on both state and national levels, asking them to create a special day to honor mothers. In 1914, Anna's hard work finally paid off when President Woodrow Wilson made the official announcement proclaiming the 2nd Sunday in May as a national holiday in honor of mothers. And we'd like to take this time to say Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in the territory, grandmothers, healthcare providers, everyone, as we head into the weekend. Be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.
Hopefully you had a great Friday. We'll take a look at what we can expect as we continue into the weekend. A pretty nice day for us today. You can see a lot of the moisture staying mainly to our south across the Leeward Islands. Also, as you get down into Trinidad and Tobago, they have been seeing some unsettled weather. That will be the case for them tomorrow. For us, you can see, again, everything just off to our south. The only thing we're going to have to deal with as we get into tomorrow afternoon is high pressure building in. We get those easterly winds wrapping right around it, so we will be seeing those trade winds picking back up here with some instability showers over the next couple of days. As we take you through your Friday night, no issues. If you have any big plans, we'll have mainly clear skies out there, comfortable temperatures, lows tonight in the mid-70s. We'll take a look at some of the local forecasts as we head right into Saturday. If you plan on being out and about, we start off with sunny skies, but again, as we get into the afternoon, that's where we could have some instability, pop-up showers. Not a washout by any means. Here's the forecast for St. John on Saturday. 85, a mix of sun and clouds, and that'll also be the case out in St. Thomas. Nice, comfortable temperatures. I know today was a little bit cooler than normal for this time of the year. We're getting closer to where we should be as we continue here into the next couple of days. Out in St. Croix on Saturday afternoon, we'll have a blend of sun and clouds outside, 86 degrees. And again, as we get into the afternoon and evening hours, we'll watch out for a couple of those pop-up showers. Here's a look at the marine forecast for the Atlantic region. Waves between 2 to 4 feet, and the wind is out of the east at 5 to 10 knots. We copy and paste that here into the Caribbean side as well. So if you're doing any boating out there tomorrow, have fun, but just use caution. Here's your extended forecast. Mother's Day looks great. Could see a couple of showers in spots, and we'll continue to see those trade winds providing us with a few passing showers as we get into the middle of next week. Back to you, Sandy.
Thanks for that. Time for our News 2 weather picture there by Jose Herrera, first grader, taking us into the weekend with a beautiful rainbow, puffy white clouds, and nice overall scenery. Great time to get outdoors and have some fun. Spend some time with mom. Be sure to wish her happy Mother's Day. Send us your News 2 weather picture to the address on the screen. Be sure to include all the information we need and tune in to see us here on News 2. We'd like to wish Gary Anthony happy anniversary. And Gary, enjoy your weekend. That is all for this edition. We'd like to wish everyone a wonderful weekend. On behalf of all of us here at News 2, I'm Sandra Gomansing. See you next time.